Remember the 5th of November. It was this day, many a moon ago, that Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of British Parliament. But now we stand amongst ourselves looking at the second half of the season, which has really shown interest and intrigue into what is being the BSR Kia World Series. We're streaming live on iRacing Live, and we're brought to you by Apex Racing TV. We're here in Sao Paulo. It's pretty much the Porsche Super Cup to what was the iRacing Road to Pro. You can catch that on Apex Racing TV as well. But this is the Kia World Series. This will also be rounds 19 to 21. Jake Sparey joined alongside by Connery Maddick here in the commentary box. Qualifying has just got itself underway, and Connery, this is always going to be an interesting circuit, especially with the fact that these cars have a tendency to want to throw it side by side.
Yes, indeed, it certainly should be interesting. We're at Interlagos here in sunny Sao Paulo. We're in sort of a morning session right now, so the sun is low, the track is cold, and of course very, very dusty. As we see some of your drivers on your outlap, there's the two Thistledew cars of Diogo Melro and Adam Dodd. They'll be the first ones to, we suspect, to come across the line and set a lap time right here. But yes, this track is relatively short, and it has quite a twisty middle section, so if these guys want to run too wide, they'll be losing a lot of time.
Yeah, they certainly will be. And actually, right now, we can just take a look then at your championship as things stand right now. And it's Julian Janowski of the Souls team who holds a 64-point margin as things stand. Of course, these standings aren't accurate in terms of penalties. They are still to be applied from the last week, but we will get those sorted for you in just 1 week's time when we move on. But he's got that lead over Rusty Walsh as things stand. Melro third in the championship with Sven Glatzel and Stuart McFadden there in 4th and 5th right now. You can look further down the likes of those. Kip Stevens down in 15th position. Alex Everett down into 9th. Likes of Roy Viveka there in 22nd. But you see a lot of people in that Cesare Rizzo Cup looking for the opportunities. And talking of the Cesare Rizzo Cup here, Connery, you look at Adam Walsh, he's got himself a 29-point margin ahead of Deutschland's Sven Glatzel.
Yes, that is a very, very comfortable gap there for Walsh. He just has to keep that consistent throughout the rest of the season, and we can see him be crowned champion of the Ches Rizzo Cup. But looking down the field, though, there in those standings, it is very, very close between some of your drivers right here. Down in 7th and 8th place especially, there's Anderson and Baxter right there. They're only separated by 3 points.
Yeah, they certainly are. You can see even further down from that, Nick Curry and Jason Greenfield split by just the 1 solitary point. But we move on to the team's championship, where the Souls team holds 72 points of the lead over Thistledew as things stand. The Celtic Dragons are there in 3rd as best of the rest as they try and hold off a hard-charging Create Scotland, the England team, Bermuda, Deutschland, Euro, Youth Energy UK, and of course your team, Connery, Iceland.
Maybe perhaps they'll be missing me for this one, but I'm sure they won't mind.
I'm sure they won't. Qualifying is underway. Lap times about to come in right now. Diogo Melro then in the number 36, 3rd in the championship as things stand, comes to the line, and can he go and set a good lap time? 35.8 is what he's got at the moment. Walsh, though, is quickest on a 35.625, and you can see McFadden goes even quicker, though. 35.625 as things stand. These times are rocking themselves in right now here, Connery, and you can see they're just going quicker and quicker. Janowski, the man who is the Season 2 champion, has just taken pole.
Janowski just showing us right there that he is the class of this field currently. That is about half a tenth faster than Stuart McFadden. But I've got to say, though, McFadden has been looking very, very good in the early stages of this season. He can definitely give him a run to the checkered flag in race 1 here.
Yeah, he certainly can. Of course, you have to talk about McFadden and Janowski and the contact they had back at Zandvoort race 2 there. That one certainly threw up some controversy and a little bit of bad blood between the two. So you can certainly see, especially with Create Scotland cars, it seems to be seen here, Connery. You know, there's been an opportunity where, you know, he hasn't been able to get past certain drivers. And the fact that he hasn't been able to get past drivers has meant that Janowski's been a little bit more aggressive and has been more has a bigger tendency to really start pushing himself and trying to force the matter.
Yeah, but the problem comes when you force the matter too much, you get yourself into incidents, and Janowski's been lucky to keep himself ahead in the championship standings at this point. But I know McFadden will give him a good run to the checkered flag here as they come around the final corner here at Interlagos. and they will set another lap. I'm just watching Adam Walsh come across the line. He's currently third. Will he set another time? No, he dives down pit road, as we see a couple of cars driving down pit road. Slang Glatzel is going to come across the line to take another lap. Does he improve? Glatzel up to third.
Yes, Sven Glatzel then has done well now, but you can see the times going in. Lewis Bibby now up into third position in the number 18, 35.628. The times are pretty much split by fractions, as we see right now. So these times are certainly not going to be sorted out on the first runs. You can see drivers trying to get themselves new tyres before getting themselves back out on circuit again with just 4.5 minutes to go and a spinner down in pit lane. That's Diogo Melro, and that's a very awkward position there to try and get yourself back going. He's going to have to do a million-point turn to get that one back right again, and only now will he get away, so he loses his teammates right now. So that could be crucial. He's got to find a drafting partner if he wants to get pole here, Connery.
I don't think he'll be putting in a good enough time anyway, since he has quite heavy front end damage to the front of that Kia Optima. The front right, both the front right and the front left wheels are exposed to the air, so that will definitely hinder him when it comes to aero. He might want to bring that one down pit lane and perhaps get the backup car.
Yeah, he probably will need to run into the T car, as you would say, back in the Formula 1 days. Timer still ticking, though. You can see some drivers still looking to set lap times. Lewis Bibby there, third at the moment. Welsh Dynamite in fourth. That's the number 9 machine of Alex Everett as things stand. The 333 machine there, 333, the best hand you can get in a game of 9-card brag. That is Paul Smith then, the independent driver, looking to get some practice then for the Pro Series. And of course, the winner of the Pro Series will get themselves with that £10,000 cash prize, which has been so sought after. Paul Smith then to drive to the line, currently in 7th at the moment, and he does himself a 36.9. It's not good enough as things stand here, Connery.
No, it's not, as we see a couple more drivers coming across the line, none of them improving their times that I can see, so it looks like this first stage of qualifying is all done right here, but we still might have a few last lap wonders coming through right here. We never know what can happen at the end of the qualifying. Someone might put in an absolutely storming lap.
Let's go on board then with Ryan D. Walker in the 11, down into the center S, turn 1, down the hill then into turn 2, and then you hit the Curva de Sol. This is turn number 3, long and sweeping left-hander, trying to just put the power down more and more. 180 kilometers an hour, 200 kilometers an hour now as he heads to the Desquita de Lago, turns 4 and 5 on circuit here. This double left-hander, very similar to that of Ravazza, you could say, at what is Imola even, but you can see you go down the hill, and then for this next left-hander, you are up the hill, trying to push the matter, trying to force the times up, and then you hit Ferradura, this double apex right-hander, where you throw yourself in, get yourself out as wide as you can, and then throw yourself back in again. And Ryan Walker, at the moment, hasn't set a lap time yet. He's currently 31st as things stand, locks the brakes into the right-hander, and actually blows the engine into the right-hander. That's a big, big mistake then, Connery, as he heads through the Pinarino.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll have enough time to get that one back to the pits. He won't have enough momentum to get that one back to the pits. If he takes a tow right here, he will be out for the rest of the qualifying and will have to start from the back of the grid. That is exactly what you don't want when coming up for your first qualifying lap.
No, certainly not. We have one new driver in the field. It's the 420 machine, and it is Jamie Hall, and he's going to come out of Junshao and now head himself through these series of quick left-hand corners, and you can see he gets himself around John Martinson, who pulls himself out of the way. Timer ticking away, minutes and a half in session to go, and Hall, he'll come across the line in the 420. Will he go quicker? Answer for the moment is no. He's going on to set a lap.
No, some of your drivers are still on quick laps here. Here comes Thorsten Helgeson. He's currently down in 25th. Doesn't improve that time by. I'm just currently looking for drivers coming up to the line. Here comes Duncan Watt as well. He's in 18th. Will he improve as he comes across the line? No, he's just on an out lap right there. So he is going to be setting one next time by.
Stuart McFadden comes down into pit road. His day is all but done. So does Van Gool. So does Greenfield. So does Bibby. McNally stays out. McLeod Evans, the Imperial Iron Wall, he stays out, trying to get himself another lap. So time ticking away. 40 seconds to go. Hadfield now coming to the line in the number 10, fighting the Cesare Rizzo Cup. Does himself a 39.4. That is not quick enough, and he'll need to set a fantastic lap time now. Anderson pulls it off. His day is done. So is Lyndon Swabies, the Canadian man, as timer ticks away still. 25 seconds. Robert Plumley, the ever-loved number 2 here, and I think his day might be all but done. No, he will go and set that lap time. What can he do? 36.7 is best. 37.1, not good enough, but he'll have one more lap to do it. Dodd will put himself into a bit of pit lane. Russell Layla, though, has 5 seconds to go then to get his qualifying sorted. He will cross the line, and he will not set a lap time yet. He's got one more chance. Timer is done. We are going to see no more lap times done. So Max Wright then will try and get himself to the line. Currently 23rd as things stand, and behind him, he's got Richard Gore, who's there in 12th. Gore's day is done, but Wright's is not. Right to the line. Does a 37.3. That's not quick enough. He won't improve, but we will look further back, and Lorne Murray will come in, and so will Jamie Hall. Thorsten Matten, now the Deutschland driver, will look to try and improve. 29th at the moment as things stand in this 32 car grid, and he'll come across the line, do a 37.7. That is not good enough. That will mean he'll stay 29th as things stand right now. Duncan Watt's day's done, so's Diogo Maros. Glatzel's day is done. Baxter, though, he will end his day as well. He wasn't quick enough, nor was Helgeson. What about McNally, though, in 17th? Can he do anything more for the Youth Energy Sim Racing UK team? By my reckoning, no. Janowski, though, at the moment has everything sorted out, and I think he will be okay. Smith is on a lap, though. Newman, I believe, is on a lap too. So is Laidler. We'll focus things on Paul Smith right now. Let's go on board then as he heads through this next left-hander to Magulio right now in this long sweeping corner. Can he go any quicker? That's going to be the big question. Jun Shao, the junction, this left-hander. This is where Kimi Raikkonen got lost in the Formula 1 about 4 years ago for Lotus, but now up the hill he'll come along. Now he's got to rely on the tow by Rusty Laidler there of the Souls team, but I think he's a little bit too far back at the moment. He'll have to try and use everything right now. Currently P number 7, Rusty Walsh is absolutely nowhere, and they're both going to go to pit lane. Janowski has the pole, and this is qualifying as it stands. Julian Janowski then, pole position with a 1:35.566. He managed to get pole position ahead of Stuart McFadden there in second. Lewis Bibby has done a fantastic job in qualifying for the England car. He's put his car up on the second row with Welsh Dynamite Alex Everett in 4th. Ben Glatzel will qualify in 5th position with Adam Walsh 6th, leader of the Cesare Rizzo Cup. Paul Smith then will get himself in 7th with Adam Hadfield 8th. Pete Newman will be there in 9th in the Triple One machine with Diogo Mauro, his former teammate, rounding out the top 10. Then you look further down, Adam Dodd is alongside Richard Gore with Rusty Laidler there with a poor qualifying by his standards alongside Lorne Murray. Stephen Baxter there in 15th with the debutant Jamie Hall there, the Welshman, in 16th. Adam McNally will qualify 17th with Duncan Watt 18th, and then got Gordon Anderson there in 19th alongside the ever-lovable Robert Plumley. Craig McLeod-Evans in 21st position, the Imperial Iron Wall alongside the Celtic car of Nathan Osborne. Max Wright is there with Peter Van Gool with Thorstein Helgeson in 25th for the Iceland team. And then you got Jason Greenfield, Lyndon Swaby, Gareth Hickling, Thorsten Matten there with John Martinson 30th. And the two cars that failed to set a time, Ryan Walker blowing his engine and Kip Stevens failing to set a lap. Well, Connery, this is a very interesting starting grid, you could say, because at some stages it's uphill to get yourself on the grid. In other stages it's downhill to get yourself on the grid. So for some cars it's an advantage, and for others it's a massive hindrance.
Yeah, and that further complicates things when you have such a difficult turn one as the CNRS is. These guys are going to be very, very lucky if they manage to make it too wide all the way through there. If they do, they'll have to lose an absolute ton of time, and we'll see the gaps up and out. But yes, as you say, just the gradient difference. The front of the grid is actually pointing uphill. The middle part of the grid is pointing downhill. And once you get towards the back of the grid around D. Walker, it starts to level off again. So this is going to be a very, very interesting start right here.
It certainly is, and cold tyres will always be an issue. Just waiting for Robert Plumley then to get himself gridded up, and also the driver there of Sven Glatzel, both of them waiting to get themselves gridded up, but they can see the Souls car on the front of the grid right now. Alongside that, Create Scotland, England there in 3rd, and then you got the Team Celtic car in 4th. 5th position for Deutschland, and then 6th for Thistle Do. 7 different types of car then up inside your top 7 positions. If that says diversity of your field, I don't know what does right now. 30 seconds to get yourself gridded up, otherwise you start from pit lane, and you can see Glatzel now on the grid as things stand, but engine notes now will start to rise. Green flag in the air. We are underway. It's a slower start than you could say for Sven Glatzel. Great start for Paul Smith. There's already contact there between Sven Glatzel and I believe Adam Walsh as well as they head themselves down to turn number 1, the center S for the very first time. Janowski has the whole shot, but they're all in close, and Newman, the king of starts, ran the outside of Glatzel. So already you can see loads of positions being moved here and there. Are we all clear through turn number 1? Answer is, for the moment, Yes, we are not. Stephen Baxter there is stopped and his day is all but done. So already you can see, Connery, a lot going on as they head to the Disquita del Lago for the very first time.
Yeah, that start was actually cleaner than I thought it would be, as we see some battling between Pete Newman and Paul Smith coming through turn 4 right there. Newman will be on the inside on the run up to Ferradura. They're still side by side, but Pete Newman will lose a lot of time if he tries to hang it around the outside.
Yeah, he certainly will. You can see he backs out of it, but Paul Smith pretty much spread eagle sideways through the mid part of the corner. Does luckily enough and managed to get himself out of the way, down to the inside then. Tries the car of Lewis Bibby. He's up into second. Pete Newman, though, still side by side, looking to go through, but he's going to have to yield the position. Now he's got to worry about Glatzel there on the left-hand side of his car. Then as they head to the Beacon to Passage for the very first time, Janowski has it at the moment, and you can see Newman tries to send one down the inside of Smith, and they're still going to remain side by side as they head towards Jun Shao, the next left-hander on circuit after this. You can see behind them still some side-by-side action going on. Layla alongside with Diogo Mauro. This is a great battle, and you can see has to lock the brakes there as they head into Jun Shao for fear of running into the car ahead of them there, Connery.
This is absolutely fantastic stuff. That was a very, very near miss call from Russell Laidler right there. He had to lock up that left front brake as they can go too wide through the final corner. I think Diego Melro will have the decision coming across the line. We're looking at too wide nearer the front though. Pete Newman and Paul Smith, they are going side by side down into turn 1. Paul Smith will have the inside, but Pete Newman tries to hang around the outside as we have battling behind him as well.
Yeah, you do, and Glatzel under threat then from Adam Hadfield, and that one is crucial for your Cesare Rizzo Cup. The winner of that gets free entry then into the Pro Series, and that one could be crucial though. You look at the front of the field, it's a 2-car breakaway as things stand. Janowski and Bibby then hold 1 and 2. It's McFadden and Everett coming together then down through the Disquita del Lago, and you can see that Everett spread eagle, but he holds the position, and you can see just how much time is lost. McFadden now behind Pete Newman and having to deal with a swarm of cars now. You can throw a blanket over them, Connery.
Yes, of course, so we see further contact behind Adam Hadfield, just diving it right down the inside of Ferradura. The victim of that one was Finn Glatzel as they go side by side through this tight right-hander down into the long left-hander. The camber is a little bit weird here. The car does some weird things, but still they're going side by side right through there.
Yeah, they certainly are. Alex Everett then is through on the car ahead of him. That one is Rusty Walsh, and that is the battle then for the final spot on the podium as things stand. You can see behind that Pete Newman, the king of starts, looking to try and get through Paul Smith there. And you can see a bit of contact there between the drivers of Diogo Mauro. They go 3 wide, and McFadden's into the wall of Jun Shao. His day is pretty much all but over now, and he'll have to go and get himself that one fast repair in this series that is really needed. You can really see now Glatzel, they are scrapping so hard in the early going. Only 15 minutes you race for, and then 2 reverse grids later on in the night. Glatzel all over the back of Melro, and you're going to see some bump drafting then as they head themselves down in side by side. Walsh then trying to go back down the inside once again into the center S, and I think for the moment he's going to try and hold it around the outside. Contact though between Melro and Hadfield then is all kicking off.
Yes, it is, and we had some contact between teammates, and that's Alex Everett. Oh, he gets a little bit of a tap on the rear bumper from Pete Newman, but somehow saves it. What a great piece of driver skill right there. Now Pete Newman comes under threat from Paul Smith as well, coming down into turn 4. Paul Smith will try hanging around the outside, but he will give up the position when it comes to the
Glatzel
apex.
off as well. That's Sven Glatzel then, who's had contact with Diogo Mauro down to the Disquita del Lago. Let's get a replay up on screen of that one, and that one was just very simply, you're running nose to tail here coming down into the corner. It wasn't even that, it was Rusty Laidler then who he gets the contact for. You've got to be so careful down on the brakes, and Glatzel just takes that contact, and his race for the win here in race 1 is pretty much all but done here, Connery.
Yes, exactly, and we've had a few instances like that so far. The car behind perhaps not expecting the car ahead to brake as much, and they're just running into the back of each other. Stephen McFadden did the same thing coming towards the end of the lap a couple of laps ago, so all of the drivers having to deal with this right now, but currently it's Julian Janowski up front, Lewis Bibby following close behind, but it's Adam Walsh. He's just being under attack right now from Alex Everett, Pete Newman, Paul Smith, Russell Laidler, and Adam Hadfield.
Yeah, you can certainly see this train starting to develop. It's Lewis Bibby, though, who is looking to try and get through on Julian Janowski. To think we are only 3 laps through this race, it really does surprise you. There's been so much action going on from the drop of the flag right now. Gap at the front is 0.4 of a second then as they hit the brakes into the center S. Not close enough, but Janowski has a habit of doing this. He has a habit of just controlling the race. As you can see, Walsh and Everett still going at it again. Welsh Dynamite trying to get past the Thistle Do car, and he might have an opportunity into the Interlagos. It's one of the long straights. Normally see DRS in a Formula 1 car, but now you can see Alex Everett right underneath the gearbox, and you can see a move to the middle of the circuit, moves to the left-hand side though now, does Alex Everett, and now we'll try and send it down the inside, and he brakes later, and he gets the move done, and it's a fantastic decision, but it's still around the outside, tries Rusty Walsh, and he still has the inside for the next corner, Connery.
Yeah, here comes Walsh. He will have the inside for Ferradura. Alex Everett's just going to have to hang it around the outside and hope he doesn't lose too much ground. Here comes Pete Newman. He's smelling an opportunity as well. Newman down towards the inside.
And Newman, the former champion, gets a little tap then to Rusty Walsh through the corner, but still side by side is Welsh Dynamite then to the King of Starts. They can see them side by side, pretty much trading paint as they head through now to the Bico de Pato then. The tightest corner on the circuit, the slowest corner on the circuit, and Pete Newman gets the position. Paul Smith gets a little bit of a bump as well from the car of Rusty Layden. You can see Hadfield's there side by side with, I believe, the driver of Diogo Melro. Melro now with the inside as they head down into Junshao. You can see ahead of that it's going to be Alex Everett down the inside, so they're going to go side by side up. You can see just how much they slowed up. They got Gore now, they got Anderson on the group, Dodds on the group, and soon they might have Peter Van Gool and Robert Plumley there, Connery.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. The bumpers are well and truly out. Here comes Paul Smith. He is basically bump drafting Alex Everett down the straight. That's something you'd see in NASCAR, not in Kia World Series racing. Paul Smith now down towards the inside of turn 1.
Yeah, you can see he sends it down the inside, and Everett has to check up, and they're going to check up and go along. Laidler then is going to go hard into the wall at the center S. That one was all a chain reaction. Contact into contact into contact, and that's just one of those things you see there, Connery. You saw Alex Everett have to check up because of Pete Newman. Paul Smith had to check up because of Alex Everett, and then Rusty Laidler had to pay the price in the chain reaction.
Yes, of course, a very unfortunate thing. It's just one of those things, but this train is still well and truly there. We've got Walsh at the front of it in the third position right now in the final podium place, but he's being chased down by Paul Smith and Alex Everett. This group is splitting up just a tiny bit, but they're all sticking together really, really well.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they're using that draft to their advantage as they head to the Pinarino then. This left-hander, we haven't really been talking about the lead of this race, but Lewis Bibby still holding on strong with Julian Janowski there just ahead, controlling the race as he normally does. The current champion right now, Pete Newman, you have to remember, is that Season 1 champion, took the title ahead of Diogo Melro, who sits himself in just behind. Then, of course, former teammates at Discovery, but Discovery no more. This will do nicely then for Diogo Melro as he looks to head up the hill. And you can certainly see here the battles that go on. Richard Gore, Adam Dodd getting themselves a little bit slow there, and Richard Gore will have to lose a position, Connery.
Yeah, that was contact right there. That meant that Gore did a massive power slide through Young Cow there, and he has lost position here to Adam Dodd. Maybe he'll get it back on the run down into the first corner. He'll try the outside for the first part of the center S's. Here he comes.
It might be a case of trying to go out to in. He's going to try and hold it around the outside, and he does it around the outside. Very good move then from the Bermuda machine of Richard Gore. He's now back up into 9th position as things stand. Your biggest mover and shaker inside your top 10 is Rusty Walsh and Paul Smith right now. They're both up 3 positions, as is Diogo Melro as things stand. No real battling this lap then down to the Desquita de Lago, but you can see Alex Everett all over the back bumper of Paul Smith then. The Yorkshireman is going to try and hold on and maybe hit something for 6th right now as he's got Rusty Walsh ahead of him. Battle for the final spot on the podium, heating up, little look to the inside, but not going to happen.
This is absolutely fantastic racing you have for your final podium place. Alex Everett goes very, very deep on the brakes, just takes a wide line on the entry to the corner, try and get a better exit as they're tight, all riding that curve through that long left-hander. This is a very, very twisty section of track. I see some cars locking up ahead there. I think that was Lewis Bibby on the chase of on the back of Julian Janowski, but we'll stick with this fight for your final podium place.
Yeah, we certainly will. And actually, I'm going to take things away just for a little bit because we've got an even bigger battle right now. Plumley, McLeod, Evans, Van Gool, Hall, Laidler's there, Watt, Baxter, and you can see back there, all these cars are still scrapping out, and this is just for the top 20 and positions like that. Plumley at the front having to deal with the likes of McLeod, Evans, and Peter Van Gool, but back up we go to the final spots on the podium. As things stand right now, Everett underneath with Paul Smith and Rusty Walsh then holding on to things for the Cesare Rizzo Cup. And as they head down towards turn number 1, Everett sends one hard to the inside, contact Paul Smith there with Rusty Walsh, and there's the position there that goes to Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite, and Newman round the outside up into 4th.
Absolutely fantastic, and Adam Walsh Rusty Walsh, sorry, just holds that slide through the center S. Is what amount of driver skill right there. Is they're going to go too wide down into turn 5. Oh, they're so close. Diogo Merrill on the inside there. He is under threat from Paul Smith. Paul Smith tried to hang it around the outside, but now he is under threat from Adam Hadfield.
And now Pete Newman comes under threat as well from Rusty Walsh. They're going to go side by side to Ferradura. So is Adam Hadfield. Going to try and do it around the outside of Paul Smith. And Pete Newman's giving the room, mind you. And they trade paint once again as they head themselves now to the right-hander. Only going to help then the car of Pete Newman. And again around the outside. And he's going to push his man wide then and run him out of road. And it works for him. He takes the position and holds on to fourth for the time being. Great work then from Pete Newman.
Absolutely great work as he now tries to chase down Alex Everett. This has just allowed Alex Everett to build up that little bit of a gap right there. But Pete Newman will be chasing him down. But I don't think we've seen the end of this. Rusty Walsh is going to try and get some revenge on that for that move, I suspect. But he has a teammate right behind him, and sometimes that's comforting having a teammate right behind you won't do perhaps a cheeky little move down into turn 1.
Yeah, and you've got to look at the front of your field as well. Lewis Bibby is in range to send one down the inside of Julian Janowski. They get close, 1/10 of a second down on the brakes, but he stays behind and says, you know what, I'm going to wait till the final lap of this race to do it. 11 minutes, 19 seconds. We've got about 2 or 3 laps then left to go in your motor race. Everett Newman there, and Melrose is through on Walsh right now. That's crucial for the championship as well. Melrose is third and Walsh is second. Paul Smith then right behind on this trainee independent driver. Adam Hadfield's there as well. Any one of these drivers can take the final spot on the podium, Connery, and you've got to be incredibly careful in the middle of this pack.
Yeah, as they come down through turn 4 right now, this medium speed left-hander, and it just drops down the hill as well. The car gets very, very unsettled, but your drivers will negotiate it very, very successfully as they're on the run up to Ferradura right now. Pete Newman has caught to the back of Alex Everett right now, coming through Ferradura. He won't try and move just yet, but this is shaping up to be an amazing fight coming towards the end of the race.
It certainly is. Down to this next right-hander. They're going to stay line astern as things stand into the left of the Pinarino. You can see Everett takes a little bit of a wider line to try and open out the corner towards the Bico de Pato. Pete Newman is there. He's waiting. He sends one down the inside. And is there contact? No, there's not. Fantastic. But they're going to stay side by side as they head to the left-hander now and towards Chun Shao. They'll come along. Not for the moment, but Newman might send one to the inside. He's close enough, but no, he has to lift out of it and say, no, I'm going to wait for that front straight. And that center S, as things stand right now, Janowski has managed to open out a little bit of a gap right now to the driver of Lewis Bibby right now. It was 1/10 when they came across the line. Now it's going to be a little bit more. The gap as they cross the line is 4/10 of a second with just 2 laps to go. Bibby is waiting for his time here, Connery. And
here
now
comes
he looks
3 wide down
into turn 1.
Oh, Newman on the outside of the center S is right here. He will have the inside for the middle part, but he'll lose the advantage to Alex Everett. Oh, there's contact right there. Oh, Newman.
Oh, my word. And Pete Newman now will have to lose 3 or 4 positions right now. Alex Everett under threat then from the driver Diogo Maro, side by side for the battle for the podium. Then they're going to go along. Paul Smith also side by side with Pete Newman. And down on the brakes, Maro's going to take the position, but Everett's not going to give it up around the outside, but he'll have to yield for the moment. Now has to defend for the other Thistledew car. This is crucial for the Constructors' Championship, where the Souls team haven't got the best of intentions right now. To the inside tries Rusty Walsh. No, not happening, Connery.
Not happening just yet, but time is running out. We've also got Walsh under threat behind from Pete Newman. You have to wonder how much damage he has to that car. It doesn't not look very significant to me as we see some bumper-to-bumper action between Paul Smith right there as we go back. Rusty Walsh, he's going to go through on Alex Everett.
Yeah, he certainly is. You can see Everett, though, back to the inside. He's going to hit his man as he runs side by side, door by door, as they get themselves through in that situation. You can see everyone is just really trying to get it through. Paul Smith side by side with Richard Gore. Gore's got to back out of it then as they get themselves down onto the brakes. Melrose is clear now of Welsh Dynamite Alex Everett. Now we're going to head on to the final lap of your motor race. Lewis Bibby, though, versus Yuli Janowski. You haven't seen too much of this one, but Janowski holds the gap for the moment then. At the front of your field, the gap to the cars behind is around 7-8 seconds. Down on the brakes into the center S as things go right now, and you can see not quite close enough. Needs to find that magic run then does the driver of Lewis Bibby. He might send one down into the Desquita de Lago, and it might be his only opportunity to really get himself then tucked in underneath the
three wide through the curve, through the centre S, isn't there? Contact with
Alex spread eagle. Oh, this is brilliant, Connery. You can see they're still 3 wide through the Curva de Sol, and now they're going to go 3 wide as they head through. Now turns to 2 wide, and now back to 3 wide. As you can see, Adam Hadfield trying to thread the needle. This is brilliant. 4 wide they try and go with Richard Gore, but it's not going to happen as they all go side by side by side down in towards the Desquita de Lago. They're going to pinch each other out on the curb. Everett now having to go careful, but at the front of your field, it's still Julian Janowski who holds things for the moment. Lewis Bibby is there and can do the position if he needs to, but you have to look at this battle going on in the middle of your pack right now. Hadfield there's got to be careful. Paul Smith around the outside then of the drive. Well, it's Gordon Anderson actually around the outside of Adam Dodd. You can see contact side by side, and it's going to be straight through the middle of the circuit. Goes the driver of Alex Everett, and there's Adam Hadfield as well, who was involved in that one. Everett into the wall, but now we look at the front of the field and we see just how close things are right now. Lewis Bibby, I don't think he's close enough. He sends it down in. Is he close enough? Can he get a good enough run out of the corner? It might have to come down to the drag race, and he's got to close that gap. 3/10, 2/10 now is the gap as they get up through the gears. Janowski's got enough at the moment to hold on. I think he might just do it. Here as they go to their checker. Janowski holds on for a great win here at Interlagos. Bibby in second, and third place will be Diogo Melrose. The next battle, Walsh and Smith, and there you can see Pete Newman then dragging everyone else to the line, Connery.
Absolutely fantastic racing. As we see Adam Hadfield, he may try to get it, but no, he will have to settle for 7th place when it all is said and done right there. But the battle for your last podium place, I've never seen such ferocious fighting, just bumper to bumper action, and that was absolutely amazing.
Well, if you're not first, you are first of the losers, and I think that was going through absolutely everybody's mind as things stand. Pretty much everyone now getting themselves towards the end of this race. Still got battles going on. Lorne Murray and Sven Glatzel, both of those drivers on the leading lap as things stand. You can see Glatzel might try and set this run up on Lorne Murray, but of course the Create Scotland cars are traditionally the hardest cars to pass in the field right now. You can see Connery, they're going to come up to the line, and it might be a very close one. The gap is about 1/10 of a second right now. Glatzel will have the opportunity to go side by side, drag racing for the line, and he gets himself down to the inside, and I think he might just steal one. Will he steal it? Answer is... oh my word, he steals it by 0.08 of a second.
Absolutely fantastic racing right there. And if the next 2 races are the same as that, I'd be very, very happy, and the viewers should be very, very happy as well.
They certainly should. Your official classified results then up on screen right now. Julian Janowski takes the win by a mere 1/10 of a second and extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship. Diogo Melrose will come across the line in third to cut any deficit. Rusty Walsh will come home in 4th with Paul Smith in 5th. Pete Newman in the end will come home 6th with Adam Hadfield 7th. In 8th it's Gordon Anderson with Adam Dodd 9th. And Alex Everett from what was 3rd on the final lap rounds out the top 10. Richard Gore will come home in 11th with Robert Plumley 12th. Craig McLeod-Evans, the Imperial Iron Wall, gets up to 13th with the likes of Peter Van Gool 14th, Adam McNally 15th and Jamie Hall 16th. There you can see Ryan Walker from the back of the grid gets himself up to 17th position with the likes of Duncan Watt, Kip Stevens there in 19th, and Lyndon Swaby rounding out the top 20. But as you look further down, there's a few casualties in the forms of Stuart McFadden, in the forms of Sven Glatzel, Rusty Laidler was another one, and also the likes of Stephen Baxter and Gareth Hickling, 1 lap down. Well, we will be able to get a driver interview for you right now, and well, just trying to think about who is the right driver for the job. Let's bring in Welsh Dynamite himself. Mr. Alex Everett will be joining us into the commentary box right now. And well, Alex, what a cracking race we have just seen there. Battle for 3rd place, going off from the drop of the hat, never stopping to slow down, and in the end, you're 3rd coming into the final lap and you finish off 10th.
Yeah, no thanks to some other driver. Thinks he's Ayrton Senna.
Oh, well, you have to say we are in his hometown as things stand. But, you know, you see this sort of battling here and everyone's going for that race win. There's still 2 races to go and you still have that reverse grid which might fall in your favour. Do you feel that maybe everyone was just trying to go for guts and glory instead of thinking about the bigger picture?
Yeah, definitely.
And, of course, you're hoping for that reverse grid. Are you hoping for something small and maybe fighting around those guys that you were battling with once again? Or are you hoping for something bigger and hoping that you can maybe get a little bit of a break from the drivers such as Pete Newman and co?
No, not Pete Newman. He was fine. Hopefully, I'll get the reverse grid away from some other drivers.
Wait for some other drivers. He's very choice with his words, but Samuli's standing by behind the camera. He's got that trademarked wheel. We're going to spin it, and we're going to see where the reverse grid lands. It's a full reverse grid, and all 32 cars are involved. Gareth Hickley will be on pole position with Stephen Baxter. Not the best of results, you could say there, Alex.
No, but we got to move on. We got to see how we do throughout the day. It's a third race as well, so maybe it'll help towards that one.
Yeah, it certainly will. Very quickly, though, we do have Stuart McFadden in the commentary box as well. Stuart, your day ended at Junshao. Just tell us what happened.
Yeah, just I don't really know what happened, but yeah, just kind of went in the corner. It was a bit congested, but I was jostling about the position, trying not to give too many positions away at the one time. Obviously, because we've got the long back straight, and just gave too many positions away, and somebody clipped me just a race instant there.
Yeah, it is one of those things where you have to be worried about it. You're going to be qualifying, though, inside the top 10 for the next race. It's a full reverse grid. You've got to be happy with that sort of result.
Yeah, I mean, we can just look for the positives now and just hope that we get a good result and a good point score in race 2.
Certainly hope that may happen. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, more high-octane action. Round 20 will be here after these few messages. Don't go away.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scan.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the BSR MSA Kia World Series, streaming live on iRacing Live and brought to you by Apex Racing TV. We're around the circuit of Interlagos for rounds 19 to 21 of this series. It's round 20 now, and after that first race, if you've only just joined us, where on earth have you been? There is a reason why you want to see this series. This is the only series that feeds into the Kia Pro Series on a Thursday night. You can join Alex Simpson, Adam Barth and Andrew Woodhouse for that one. It will be fantastic. I believe they'll soon be coming back to Interlagos, so that will be something very interesting to watch. But the only reason you want to join is because of that reason, £10,000 for that race, for that championship win. Make sure you join us today. It's the only way to get through. It's going to be £3 per race, or it will be 15 as a driver for a team, or £20 for an independent for a season. Now, of course, I do use the phrase MSA. This is officially recognised by the British Motorsports Association. We use their rules, we all have a good time, and we get cracking action like we saw in that opening race. And of course, if you are brand new to iRacing watching this and thinking, oh, that seems amazing, I'll give it a go, make sure you get your 3 months of your subscription for the price of one with the promotional code PR-BSRTC, and also €30 off of any JCL Sim Racing products to be faster with the promotional code 5VATA1KA. Now, Connery, after that opening race, we certainly saw that the elbows were out from pretty much the word go. Everyone is finding themselves in a position where they want to make those moves, and a full reverse grid will only stoke fuels to the fire.
Indeed it will, and a full reverse grid is actually what you'd want to see if you were someone like Stuart McFadden that had an incident earlier on in race 1. This is the chance to make your comeback. And speaking of Stuart McFadden right now, we saw his pace in the early stages of race 1, but unfortunately he got into an incident coming into Junghal corner. He will be a very, very good pick for this race too.
Yeah, he certainly will, and there'll be a few other names who are going to be up there fighting. You see the likes of Russell Laidler and Sven Glatzel. They've got their easy jobs. They've got it near the front. But you look at those drivers who have to do it from the rear. We haven't seen how Janowski can handle getting through the traffic. That's something that you're going to have to see how he does. And traditionally, when it gets very, very tight, it starts getting a little bit hot and heavy under that Bulgarian collar. So you look at Julian Janowski, he certainly does make good progress. We saw it in race 3 at the Nürburgring last week. He managed to get himself up to a podium from 21st on the grid, Connery.
Yes, he is an absolutely fantastic driver, but this racetrack though is so tight and twisty in the middle sector that you could just very, very easily get trapped behind some slower cars or cars that are going too wide, and it's going to get very, very frustrating for him, and it'd be interesting to see how he deals with that and keeps a cool head.
Yeah, you do have to be really worried about how this sort of race is going to affect certain drivers. Now, you look at certain drivers who certainly had their best efforts, but Alex Everett, you could hear in his voice in the commentary box there, he was incredibly frustrated with a few drivers there in that race, and with good reason. He was up there on the podium coming into that final lap there, Connery, and to come out of it with only a 10th place, even I'd be fuming about that.
I think we all would, but I mean, some of us are drivers here in iRacing as well as commentate on it, and I certainly would be very, very frustrated with coming away with the 10th when I could have finished so well. But he'll have to make some points back up in this race too. He will be starting ahead of those drivers that he had been battling in race 1. So if he can clear the traffic quick enough and put as much of a gap on them as he can, then he can perhaps challenge the likes of Stuart McFadden.
Yes, he certainly can. Sun, though, is shining in the sky. We've got midday conditions right now, which means that that track surface is going to be a little bit hotter. It means that these drivers are going to be pushing themselves that little bit harder in this race. But what it also does mean, though, is those tyres are going to go off a little bit faster. And come those final few laps where you're going to be running on the edge of your grip here, Connery. I mean, you've driven this car more than I have. You know just how difficult this car can be when the tyres start going off.
Yes, the tyres do start going off really, really quickly and are quite sensitive to the temperature. And it being a front-wheel drive car, you have the drive forces and the cornering forces going through those front tyres. So those front tyres just scream in agony whenever you overdrive it, and you just lose so much time. So tyre conservation is actually a surprisingly bigger thing in a sprint race as this, as it would be in any longer race, just because of those front tyres.
Yeah, they certainly do. Of course, this car front-wheel drive, looking to try and really push themselves. Pretty much the closest thing to a British touring car we have on the iRacing service right now. The only real difference, you could say, is that mid-cornering speed, which is completely different. Not really too much aero you can see on this Kia Optima right now, as you can see, as Paul Smith heads himself across the line. That center S on lap 1, everyone just bottlenecks in, and everyone's just having to wait and wait and wait, and you just wait for that opportunity to put the power down, and before you know it, you could have 2 or 3 cars around you, Connery.
Yes, it is, and especially in this reverse grid, people will be trying to make up positions very, very quickly if they start further down the field. They will just want to clear the traffic, otherwise they will lose so much time. But lap 1, turn 1 in this race will be very, very interesting indeed. We have a couple of drivers starting near the front that we perhaps don't normally see at the front, especially in a race 1. So this race 2 will be looking very, very interesting.
Practice then is over for these drivers. Diogo Mauro just goes quickest in at the practice session at the death. This will be your grid then for the second race of the evening. And it will be Gareth Hickling on pole position with Stephen Baxter alongside Max Wright in third for England 2-3, Lord Murray fourth, Glatzel fifth. Then you got Laidler and Osborne sixth and 7th with McFadden there with Greenfield. Then you got Martinson and Matton, Helgeson and Swaby, Kip Stevens there with Duncan Watt, Ryan Walker there with Jamie Hall, McNally and Van Gool, Craig McLeod-Evans and Robert Plumley, Richard Gore there with Alex Everett, Adam Dodd and Gordon Anderson with Adam Hadfield, Pete Newman, Paul Smith, Rusty Walsh there with Diogo Mauro, Lewis Bibby and Julian Janowski round out this 32-car grid as things stand. Expect to see some fireworks once again. 1 minute to grid up this time, and you can see it's the outside line the drivers have on the odd numbers that take yourself into turn number 1. That could be a disadvantage. It might be an advantage if you can hold one around the outside like Janowski did at lap 1, just waiting for a couple of cars at the front. The 2 England cars of Baxter and Wright then trying to get themselves up onto grid. There is Baxter. Where is Wright? There is Wright. Engine notes, though, will start to rise. Long hold, but they are there and they are underway. Poor start, though, from Max Wright. Great start, though, from the driver of Nathan Osborne. He tries to thread the needle with Glatzel and Laidler, but he's having none of it. And there you can see McFadden now down to the inside. 3 wide then as they go for the battle for third into turn number 1. Hickling's clear, but Laidler is already up into third position. A great start, but it's Osborne straight across the track. And you can see pandemonium already at the centre S. Cars flying left, right and centre there. And already big names and big races have been wrecked at turn 1 there.
An absolutely massive incident. I think that may have been caused by Nathan Osborne just getting the back end in the middle of the center S's contact with another car, just sending him onto his roof into the barrier and just caused an absolute concertina effect, and no one had anywhere to go.
Janowski has survived it very crucially. Walsh has survived it. Everett has survived it. Hadfield survived it. Pete Newman did not. So the king of starts has managed to find a bit of kryptonite then as they head themselves now in at the front of this field in towards this next corners now. The Pinarino Laidler already leads this race right now, and he's already made his way past Baxter, made his way past Hickling. So Rusty Laidler now has just got to run away with it, and maybe we might see some reverse donuts at the end of the race if he holds on. But Glatzel's there in 5th and has the potential to close right now. But you can see Matton side by side with Kip the Hairflick Stevens then in this battle for 7th and 6th going on right now.
Yes, and I think Thorsten Matton will surrender this position to Kip Stevens, and of course we've also got Stuart McFadden right there. He avoided the carnage as well, and now he's going to try and go down the inside, going through the final bend here at Interlagos.
They got 3 wide action behind, though. It goes to 2 and then back to 3 again as Walsh tries to thread the needle with Hall and Everett, the 2 Welshmen. 1 for the Celtic team, 1 an independent as they're going to head towards turn numbers 1 and 2. The centre S right now, it turns into 2 wide right now, so they're going to go side by side down onto the brakes. They come along into the left-hander, and well, for the time being, Alex Everett holds the position. Walsh, though, down the inside at turn 2, but it'll be the inside line for Alex Everett through turn number 3, the Curva de Sol. That means he holds the position as things stand right now. Stevens A little bit of a gap then in the battle for 6th, but you see Stephen Baxter's not walking away. Well, not losing time then to Russell Laidler. He's holding on very well there in that England machine, you could say, Connery, and doing all he needs to do to hold on.
Yep, indeed he is, and he has a little bit of a gap to Gareth Hickling and Lorne Murray right there, but they are, of course, not catching at this point. Baxter is actually pulling a gap on them, so that'll be a very interesting come towards the end of the race as we look back now to that group involving Alex Everett. Here comes Jamie Hall down the inside of Alex Everett. Alex Everett very, very deep in the brakes, forced the matting around.
Yeah, and you can see just everyone getting involved. Janowski had to check up there, and that one will just annoy him a little bit more. Now he's got to deal with McNally there just behind, and Hall again. More contact there with Alex Everett then as they go down onto the brakes down in. And now Alex Everett's got to be careful. I think Hall's day is all but said and done, as now Lewis Bibby tries to go down the inside of Alex Everett. You can see holds the inside line for Jun Zhao. You can abuse that curve on the outside just a little bit more, but down to the inside, and he makes that position look very, very comfortable. But of course, that run up the hill is going to be all Everett there as he gets a much better run. He's pretty much pushing his man now through these series of quick left-handers, and he's got, though, his long-term rival, Julian Janowski, there behind him. That one is certainly one to look out for, and I think Everett just wants a little bit of a gap right now as they're going to go side by side, potentially, as they head down towards turn number 1. Once again, battle then for 11th place on circuit, and down the inside goes Everett, and for the moment, he holds the position.
Yes, and I think Everett has to be careful here, and of course in more ways than one. I think that move down the inside in the middle of the last lap was a little bit too aggressive, but we'll leave that one to the stewards as we see Julian Janowski. He is going to go and try and catch Lewis Bibby as there's contact in front of him. Adam Hadfield and Duncan Watt. Duncan Watt forced wide in turn 4 and loses 2 positions.
Yes, he does, and now he's got to be incredibly careful. He's got his teammate Walsh behind him, which I think he'll probably let go without too much worries. McFadden down to the inside, though, and he forces his man almost off the circuit. Very lucky that he didn't, and that's going to allow the car of Duncan Watt to go back down to the inside then of the driver of Adam Hadfield there in Celtic colours. The man from Sheffield then makes sure he holds the position, but now you can see runs himself wide, allows Rusty Walsh then to go side by side as they head to the Bico de Pato then for the 3rd time in this race. You can see still holding it around the outside, though, is that driver of Rusty Walsh inside for the next corner, and I think pretty much that is said, signed, sealed and delivered.
Yeah, Walsh getting the move done on his This'll-Do teammate. I'm just looking back towards the Everett and Julian Janowski battle. Julian Janowski has not gotten through on Everett just yet. Julian Janowski has some front end damage to that Kia Optima, but you have to argue that Alex Everett has even more damage. But Janowski, he's going to sit in the draft here, maybe try and move down into turn 1 of the center S's, but will he be close enough?
That's going to be the big question. Battle for 3rd, though. Lorne Murray is through on Gareth Hickling. Glatzel waiting behind. We look at Julian Janowski then and see, can he get himself down the inside? No, he can't. But behind that, though, Diogo Mauro trying to go in, but he gets chopped and taken. Lewis Bibby then straight back through as he sits very much similar to race 1, right behind Julian Janowski, that champion car in the wall, though. That is Gareth Hickling, and that was from 4th position. His day is all but done as he's ridden into the wall right now. Janowski looking at the inside. No, not going to happen. But Hickling, oh, you got to feel sorry for him because he never gets the right result he needs.
Yeah, and that may have been technical issues coming into Curva del Sol there for Gareth Hickling. So very, very unfortunate right there.
Yeah, it really is right now. As you can see, though, there is still battles up and down your field right now. McFadden all over the back of Max Wright. He is lap traffic, so will have to get out of the way soon if he feels that he is slower than the drivers ahead. Hadfield and Walsh, though, these two going at it again. This'll-Do then versus the Celtic team. You can see down to the inside he tries to go, but for the moment just can't get to seem a break from those drivers ahead. At the front of your field, though, Rusty Laidler holds the lead, but not by much over Stephen Baxter. The gap was 7/10 of a second last time they come across the line, and if he gets a second here, Connery, he breaks away, and that's the end of this race, you could say.
You could well say that as they're going to come across the line for the 4th lap of Interlagos right here. We'll have to see what the times are. Stephen Baxter did a 36.9, and Laidler did a 36.7, so Laidler definitely pulling out that gap at this stage in the race. We look back, though, however, to that coming down into turn 1. That was Rusty Walsh right there, getting past Max Wright. Walsh now sets his eyes on Adam Hadfield.
Yeah, he certainly does. We can certainly see a lot of battling going on, and Janowski put a nose down the inside but didn't quite get close enough. Melrose having a little bit of a sticky situation with Lewis Bibby. Bibby loses the position, now could lose it to Gordon Anderson as well then, as they're going to go side by side. Janowski though, looking down to the inside on Welsh Dynamite. Alex Everett, and is there contact? No. He chops the nose off very well, and Alex Everett holds on to the position for another day. As things stand right now, Hadfield though has the gap on Walsh, now looking at young Stuart McFadden then. Stuart McFadden is going to have to hold his line as things stand right now. Down onto the brakes, into the right-hander he comes along, and they're not close enough, so they head to the Pinarino.
Indeed not. As we look back to Janowski and Alex Everett, it just doesn't seem like Janowski can find a way past right now. As Melrose, he has a little bit of a look on Janowski in that long left-hander, but thinks better of it. Here comes Alex Everett on Max right though, down into the right-hander, very, very deep on the brakes. Alex Everett there, he has a tendency of doing that. Now he's under threat from Julian Janowski behind right now, but Julian Janowski, he backs out of that one, coming down to Jung Ankola. Will anyone try and move? There go Melrose, he closes up right on the brakes of Julian Janowski as we see Max Wright get the back end out. Here comes Alex Everett on the outside.
Yeah, Max Wright lap traffic has to let them all go through then, as he says he waits for the right place to do it, and then he does it. So now Janowski all over the back of his long-term rival will have to do it the long way around as Everett goes down to the inside, and Everett might pinch his man on the outside, and you know what, he's got every right to do it, but Janowski around the outside and maybe Melrose down the inside, 3 wide, down towards turn number 1, and is there contact? No, there's not. They all hold it together nicely, and Diogo Melrose trying to go around the outside there with Julian Janowski still looking, but Janowski there doesn't have to run through the mid part of the corner, and now Alex Everett's going to try and squeeze him on the outside, and he almost forces him off the circuit there onto the AstroTurf as they head now down to the Ski de Interlagos, and you can see Janowski now has the position on Everett, and Everett now worrying about Bibby, and down to the inside again tries to drive over Janowski as he looks to try and get past Diogo Melrose.
Yeah, that was a 2-for-1 special down into turn 1 from Melrose right now, but now he's under pressure from Julian Janowski. He has his teammate right in front of him, gives him a little bit of a hurry up. Coming down into Ferradura right now, Melrose on the inside. He has Alex Everett right over his rear bumper. Behind though, Lewis Bibby and Gordon Anderson, they are battling. Coming down to the right-hander, will we have 3 wide? Not just yet, but they go 2 by 2 through the right-hander. Gets a little tap there. Duncan Watt gets a little tap right there as they side by side still through the long left-hander. Alex Everett will have the advantage coming up to the next right-hander though, but this is losing them a ton of time to the group ahead.
It certainly is. They were 3 wide, 2 deep. Then, as you can see, Duncan Watt falling like an anchor. And you can see right now, Julian Janowski is being a big loser in all of this. He's now having to worry. There's contact. And there goes Duncan Watt into the wall. And no room was given between any of them. And now Janowski will have to face the stewards on that one if it's appealed, because that one could mean massive implications. If he gets a 3rd penalty, that will mean a pit lane start and pretty much the end of his next race 1. So now Julian Janowski's got to be a little bit careful. You can see behind him though, Anderson and Bibby going side by side. Bibby will now look to the inside at the turn 1 corner, and I think, no, there's contact between them as well, and Anderson straight into the wall, and he takes Bibby out.
I can't really judge that one. It looks like Lewis Bibby had moved across and just tagged the rear of the car there. Very unfortunate for both of those drivers. It was the same with the Julian Janowski incident. I'm not too sure who to blame on that one. That will be one for the stewards to decide if it is protested and if it is appealed.
Yes, certainly is, and Adam Hadfield side by side with Rusty Walsh as things stand. Battle for 7th, and round goes Adam Hadfield. He'll do a complete 360, and well, I'll give you style points on that one, but that has really affected him. He loses 1 position, he loses 2 as he rejoins at Ferradura, and now he has his teammate there just for a little bit of company. So everyone is just getting hot and buttered underneath the Brazilian sun right now. But up front though, battling for 2nd, Baxter under threat now from Sven Glatzel.
Yes, Glatzel's done very, very well to close up the gap last time by. He did a 36.8, Baxter did a 37.3, so half a second between these two on the last lap. Glatzel will have the draft coming out of Yonghao corner through the long, very, very long last corner here at Interlagos, sitting behind under that rear wing of that Kia Optima car. Here comes Sven Glatzel. He's going to take the outside, coming up to the stripe right here. He is going to try around the outside into the center S's. But no, Zach Baxter has defended the position. Glatzel will try it on the inside, but no. Baxter holds the position.
Stephen Baxter is one of these experienced drivers. He wasn't there in Season 2, but he was there Season 1 to really show what sort of craft the England driver has right now. England versus Germany, how often do you get to say that? As you can see, Glatzel there sitting pretty underneath. We'll have to try and do it the long way around at the Ski de Lago. And for the moment, he's going to just have to sit behind and wait then as he plays mobile roadblock. And you see Russell Laidler is out and away at the moment by 2.3 seconds at the moment. They're pretty much nose to tail as he has to go to the outside once again as he looks at that opportunity to try and send one through. And no, he can't quite do it just yet. You can see Glatzel looking for that big opportunity down to the inside. Potentially no. He's still waiting in this tight and twisty section. You've got to make sure, but Baxter's going to run wide. Side by side through the Pinarino. That's not the ideal opportunity there, Connery. But maybe down to the Bica de Pato. He might find a way down the inside. And you know what? It's well blocked.
Glatzel all over the back of Baxter right there as Glatzel tries to take a wider entry in the right-hander. Now we're on the run down to Younghao corner. This is going to be a very, very heavy braking zone. Will Glatzel try move down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. But look behind them. Here comes Lorne Murray as well. He may get involved in this fight to make it a three-way fight for the rest of your podium places. Here comes Glatzel on Baxter on the outside of the corner, and he turns in, and Baxter loses control of the car, just hits the wall, and that is Baxter's race done.
Oh, and what a shame for Stephen Baxter. He'd driven so well and only 2 minutes from the end as well. Lorne Murray now down the inside. He's up into second from what was a starting position of fourth, and the leading front have stayed in fantastic motion right now into turn number one, and they hold station for the moment. But it's a poor run out of the corner though for Murray, and here comes Glatzel fighting for second position as things stand. You can see he's going to have to move to the inside, and Murray's going to have to try and defend. He's one of the fairest drivers in this league and could get a podium out of all of this. Down on the brakes, they're going to try and come along, and well, for the moment it's going to be Glatzel down the inside at the Ski de Lago, and for the time being he will take the position. It will be 1 lap to go next time by, but there has been contact. McFadden has come together with, I believe, Adam Walsh. Just get it on replay then and see exactly what has happened, and that is exactly not what you want to see. He goes down on the brakes, there's a tag rear on front, and that has pretty much ended any chance then. You can see Stuart McFadden getting a brilliant finish there, Connery.
Yes, very unfortunate for him. It looks like Walsh got very, very unstable on the brakes. I believe McFadden did move to try and block that lane, but it was well before the corner, so it's a very valid move. But Walsh, he just tags the back of Stuart McFadden, sends Stuart McFadden into the wall, and Fadden is the one that comes off worse.
Yeah, it certainly is. Janowski all over the back of Adam Hadfield. Then it will be the white flag this time by, and just ahead of that is Welsh Dynamite Alex Everett as well. He's got to try and get past the rear gunner though for Everett in the form of Hadfield, and you can see he brakes earlier on the brakes to try and run himself through. Runs a little bit wide there though, does Hadfield, and that's going to compromise his run then up the hill, and it's going to be doubly worse then. As you can see, trying to go around the outside there is Julian Janowski. It's so difficult there. This is the section of track where we saw in 2003 in the Formula 1 where the tyres got spewed up everywhere, and it ended in a red flag where Giancarlo Fisichella won the race. The white flag is out. To the outside goes championship leader Julian Janowski on Adam Hadfield, and they go tight on the brakes in through turn number one, and they're going to get it through turn number two maybe for Janowski. He has to leave the room, and he does, but around the outside maybe at the curve of the Sol, that's going to be an interesting opportunity, and he'll have to do it around the outside of the Ski de Lago. 2 more left-hand corners before he hits the right to Ferradura. It's a brave effort from the Bulgarian, and can he make the move sorted on Adam Hadfield? Down on the brakes, he tries to be last in the late breakers. He does become last in the late breakers, but he has to take that wider line there, just through a centripetal force, and you know they're still side by side, but now the inside comes to Julian Janowski as they head themselves down into the next right-hander. What a brilliant last lap battle this is going to be, and what a shame it will be that we have to turn away from it at some stage. Still on the inside though, he's got it down onto the brakes. They go into this next right-hander, and they've been side by side for an entire lap, but now Janowski takes the position. But up front, it won't be Julian Janowski, it will be his teammate of all people. It will be Russell Laidler, who rounds the final corner of Junshao. Now he's got to deal with just less. He'll get past Craig McLeod-Evans, who will just take the easy road out, but it will be Russell Laidler who will be incredibly happy after leading the championship after round 3 and being in a little bit of a spot of bother. He will take the win, a second Souls win in a row. Round 20 is Russell Laidler's, and what a result that is, Connery.
An absolutely fantastic result from Laidler right there as we see Lorne Murray. He will come across the line for a well-deserved third place. Here comes Kip Stevens. He's had a very, very quiet race, but he comes home in fourth from 14th on the grid. And of course, we have Rusty Walsh right there. He comes home in 5th place as well. So what fantastic racing we've had for the first 2 races of this evening. That is absolutely amazing.
It certainly is, and well, you have to feel for a few drivers here and there. The likes of Stephen Baxter now heading himself up the hill in the number 21 machine. He was up there in second position with just a few laps to go. He'll now finish in 18th of all things. Oh, how cruel this series can be. Duncan Watt as well. He was up there to begin with, but Pete Newman and Adam Dodd, they're going to drive themselves last to the cars on the lead lap then as they look to try and push themselves to the line. Maybe Adam Dodd might be able to steal one here as they come to the line. I think he's a little bit too far away then to get the real benefit of the tow. He's close, he's getting closer, but he's not going to be close enough then as they cross the line. Final results then up on your screen from round 20. It's Russell Laidler then who takes the win by 4.8 seconds ahead of Sven Glatzel with Lorne Murray in third. Kip Stevens, quiet race, he'll come home in fourth with Rusty Walsh in fifth. Jürgen Melro from the back of the grid will come home into sixth with Alex Everett there in seventh. Julian Janowski will come home in eighth with Adam Hadfield ninth. And Paul Smith will round out your top 10. There you can see there further down, Stuart McFadden can only manage 12th. Lyndon Swaby there in 13th. Good result then for the Canadian. And where you look back at the likes of Gordon Anderson there in 16th. Stephen Baxter in 18th, and the cars that were a lap down or failed to finish, the likes of Richard Gore failed to finish, Nathan Osborne, John Martinson there with the likes of Robert Plumley getting done in for it, Forstein Helgeson there, Jamie Hall having the end of his day, and same could be said for Gareth Hickling. Lewis Bibby 2 laps down at the end of it, but there, as we look at Russell Lader right now, reverse donuts for all, as he's incredibly happy with his experience there. And you know what? We're going to try and get a driver interview with him right now, if I can find the man. And well, you have to say he's done a fantastic job for himself. And you have to say, Connery, he is really someone who has really put in the hard effort and dedication.
Yes, of course. That was a very much a race of attrition right there, with so many incidents with your top runners, but a very good finish, very well run race.
Yes, it certainly is. We got Rusty Laidler here in the commentary box with us, and well, a fantastic race result for you. You take that win, and you must be incredibly happy with your performance.
Yeah, that was a nice way to sort of get this evening back on track. I've had quite a nasty mid-season run, to be honest, and yeah, to get the win, not only for myself but for the team, it means a lot.
It certainly does, and well, for you, you started off in 6th position and you saw the world open up in front of you as the lap 1 incident came in from 2 or 3 drivers, and by the end of that opening lap, you found yourself in the lead. Just how fortunate do you feel, or just how happy do you feel that you managed to get all those positions done early and you didn't have to do them later on?
Yeah, I was, before the race started, I was sort of trying to plan strategically where I could, and you know, where I could try and pick them off one by one. I thought I might be able to get 1 or 2 off the line, but I wasn't expecting to start anywhere like that. I think a nice big gap on the inside, turn 1, so I thought, I'm just going to put my car there just to play it safe. Next thing I knew, I'm coming out with turn 1 in 3rd. And I've got to give a bit of a shout out to my teammate Gareth Hickling here, because I'm pretty sure he held Baxter up going into turn 4, which allowed me up the inside of the pair of them, and sort of from then on it was just my tyre management. But it's a shame because Gareth was running well, but I have a feeling he got crowded into the wall. But it's nice to see Gareth, and to be fair, actually, I'd like to give a shout out to Lorne Murray, because I think that's his first podium.
I think it is as well, and I think he's done a fantastic job. But for you, Russell, you're moving on to race 3. After that, it's going to be all about next week as well. What are you looking for in this final race? Of course, we saw the full reverse grid happen for Julian Janowski. He managed to get himself up into the top 8 as well. So, are you thinking that there's going to be great places to get that overtaking opportunity for you?
Any number's good for me. My Drivers' Championship's over. So I'm just concentrating on getting as many points for the team as possible. And I'm aiming for Julian to take the driver's title and for us to take the team's title. So if we could do the double this season, I think that's the ideal goal. So I think any reverse grid, I'm happy with my pace. I'm happy with driving. I'm happy with others around me. I think it's going to be race 3 should be a good fun one.
Should be a good fun one. Samuli standing by with the wheel. We're going to spin it and we're going to see exactly where you end up. "14 is the number for the reverse grid. The car on pole position will be Thorsten Matten. 14, a really not too bad number there. Kip Stevens started off in 14th, and he got himself all the way up to 4th.
Yeah, Kip's a wily old fox, isn't he? And he knows when to pick up positions, and he also benefits from the idiots kind of putting each other into the wall. It's how Kip gets where he gets, if that makes any sense. He races with his brain.
Races with his brain. Well, that's Russell Labour then, winner in race number 2. The number 3 machine for the Souls team. We're going to step aside for the final time this evening. When we come back, round 21 after this.
iRacing.com is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all over the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. iRacing's web-based interface allows members to compare stats and test drive any combination of car and track instantly. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 60,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsport organizations like SRO Motorsports Group to deliver virtual races based on the real-life Blancpain GT series. iRacing's Blancpain Endurance Series features team racing, giving members the ability to build a team and participate.
For the final time tonight, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your BSR MSA Kia World Series. We're streaming live on iRacing Live, and we're brought to you by Apex Racing TV around the circuit of Interlagos here in Brazil. Well, I should try and get my words out properly. It's the place where the sun never sets, you could say, and the parties happen all around. And you have to say, this has been some fantastic racing, some of the best I have ever seen. And I've been doing this right from the very beginning of this action-packed series. There's a reason why I use the phrase MSA, officially recognised by the British Motorsports Association. You run their rules, you have some fantastic racing like this, and everyone enjoys themselves at the end of the day. And, well, you have to make sure that you get into this series for one of two reasons. The first, this is the only feeder series to that BSR Kia Pro Series, which has that £10,000 cash prize. Make sure that you get yourself in on that one. They are coming to a close on this series. Make sure that you join us on our Facebook, because we can get you the racing in for you. £3 for a race weekend. It's $15 if you are going for the full season as a team driver, and £20 for an entire season as an independent. Now, if you are brand new to iRacing and this has been absolutely fantastic to watch, you can get 3 months for the price of one with the promotional code PR-BSRTC, or you can get €30 off any JCL Sim Racing products with a promotional code 5BATA1KA. Connery, all eyes are looking at this final race. Nobody has anything to lose, you could say, as they head to the land of the rising sun next week. We're going to be heading off to Suzuka, and all eyes will be looking very much around everyone else to see who and what is going to get themselves that final crucial race win.
Yes, indeed, and I cannot wait for this race 3. If race 1 and race 2 are anything to go by, this race should be absolutely brilliant.
It certainly will right now, as you can certainly say. Here we're in evening conditions right now. This circuit gets a little bit colder once again. The wind, of course, is blowing in from the west at 19 kilometers an hour. Track temperature's 24 degrees. There, it's a very cold track, you could say. And of course, you have to be incredibly careful around a circuit like this. And well, there are a few corners that really do send you into a little bit of trouble here, Connery. I mean, you look at this infield section, although it's very ferocious from Ferradura, I think most of the best battling comes down into these long hairpins. You look at the likes of the Pinarino and the Bico de Pato, a brilliant left into another brilliant right. You're pretty much going side by side. You can pretty much hold it for an entire lap if you tried.
You could well do that, and of course, if you're going to try a run on the outside of Ferradura, you are compromised for turn 8, but then you're back on the inside for the long left-hander of Pinarino as well. So it's all about positioning your car in the right place at the right time.
It certainly is, and well, we've seen this racing happening, and race 2 always brings in the surprise and the element of luck, you could say, in the forms of crashes. Well, we certainly saw a lot of those in that second race. Do you think drivers are feeling the sort of pressure that's coming along with such tight racing? They just feel that they can't back down from the situation?
Yeah, I do feel like that, because in this BSR Kia World Series, there's always tight racing. There's always bumper-to-bumper action at any track we go to, but Interlagos has just exacerbated that because there's just such a tight and twisty section in the middle of a lap. They're running bumper-to-bumper, door-to-door, all the way through there, and it's just producing some actually very, very good racing.
Certainly is. Lewis Bibby is on his roof and almost back upright as he now gets himself pretty much sideways in the entrance to pit lane as things stand. Of course, this is the old pit lane, not the resurfaced pit lane that we see in modern days right now, but it's nice to see the old thing back at it again. But you have to say, this Interlagos circuit, it is beautiful to just drive. It's one of the most free-flowing circuits on the calendar for this season, and also on the F1 calendar as well. It's a firm favourite. Used to be third in the championship, then it used to be a season decider, and now it's towards the end. You have to say it's got a place in quite a few people's hearts.
Yes, it is an absolutely brilliant track, and as you say, has just this flow to it that you don't quite get with some other tracks. I know we're going to Suzuka next week, and we'll actually be doing a layout that pretty much only includes Sector 1 with those S's going up the hill, and those S's are absolutely brilliant as a driver. If the setup's right, if the car's just settled, it is an absolute breeze to go through, an absolute, very, very enjoyable.
It certainly will be. Practice then is over as things stand. The grid will come up as follows for the final race of the evening. All eyes will turn here to Brazil and then to the land of the rising sun, as this is your grid for the race. It'll be Thorsten Matten on pole position. He's joined alongside by Lyndon Swaby, and Stuart McFadden is there in third. Adam McNally there is fourth with Paul Smith fifth and Adam Hadfield sixth. Janowski and Everett round out row 4 with Melrose, Walsh, Stevens, Murray and Glatzel there with Russell Lather in 14th. Then you got Van Goolen, Anderson, Walker and Baxter, Watts and Newman there with Dodd and McLeod Evans, Max Wright and Lewis Bibby, Gareth Hickling and Jamie Hall, Thorstein Helgeson with Robert Plumley, Jason Greenfield, Joel Martinson and Richard Gore rounds out a 31 car grid. We have managed to lose a driver somewhere. But you can see then everyone is just so eager to get this race over and done with. There's a lot of anticipation in and around right now, waiting for Max Wright, waiting for Jamie Hall right now as things stand. And I believe it is not Robert Plumley who we are waiting for right now, but you can see everyone is just getting ready to grid up. Engine notes will be rising in a couple of seconds' time. Lights out then for the final race of the evening, and Lyndon Swaby doesn't get the best of starts. McFadden does, and he'll thread the needle, and he'll go straight to the race lead then as they head down into turn number 1 of the centre S, and he's going to try and be followed by Paul Smith down in, and everyone getting tight, and already is contact as Swaby hit the wall, and now everyone's just bottlenecking up, and that middle of the pack has been just pretty much compromised there, and a lot of cars getting involved. I believe we've seen the likes of, yes, Ryan Walker involved there, Gordon Anderson not having the best of days, and there's still more contact in the back there as Joel Martinson gets turned around there, Connery.
Yes, a very large incident coming to the first corner of your race right here. I believe that was caused by Adam Hadfield, perhaps making a very, very optimistic move down the inside of Lyndon Swaby right there. There was no room whatsoever for him to make that move. But what a start by Stuart McFadden. He's up to first position.
Yes, he is, and I believe Julian Janowski might have been involved in that incident. The number 1 machine, where is he? Oh, the circuit? No, he's managed to survive it, and he's up into third position right now, chasing down the leading 2. That's Stuart McFadden with Apex Racing TV's very own Paul Smith there in second position, and what a scoop it will be as to become a race winner in just only his 6th start in the BSR Kia World Series. In through the left-hander they come along and heading towards Junshaw right now. You can see Janowski has managed to extend his gap over the 2 Celtic cars there on Adam Hadfield and also Alex Everett there. But with Adam Walsh there just waiting behind, it's been a ding-dong battle all race weekend long. You have to say Adam Walsh has been there or thereabouts.
Yes, yeah, as we see some side-by-side racing from Diogo Melrose and Thorsten Matten. Melrose will get through in it. Now Matten is under threat from Stefan Glatzel as we see your front runners come down into turn 1. Stuart McFadden will be leading them down into the centre S's. Paul Smith will be following very, very close behind, but there's a 3-car train just outside your top 3. Adam Hadfield, Alex Everett and Rusty Walsh. They are battling for your final podium place.
Yes, they certainly are. And while the Deutschland team down a member, Jörg Dankert's currently suffering from illness, so we wish him all the best. One of the most favourite drivers in the paddock. But right now, you have to say Adam Hadfield, Alex Everett, Adam Walsh, Rusty Walsh, you could say, now all into the Desquita de Lago then for what is the second time then in this final race of the evening. 15 minutes to decide who is going to win this one, and for the moment it's going to be Stuart McFadden who holds the lead of this one. He only just has to keep himself in front of Paul Smith, a veteran, a winner in the Pro Series circles as well, so you have to be incredibly careful around a wily old Yorkshireman fox like he is right now. Side by side, Pete Newman, the king of stars, Danny inside then of Thorsten Matten, and there's going to be contact behind as well, and that's involved there one of the I believe Peter Van Gool there going off, and also the driver Lord Murray, who had such a good race then in what was that race number 2, but you can see it's not quite working as much then as they both keep themselves going, Connery.
Yeah, that was Lewis Bibby just looking down the inside, but that gap was indeed closing coming into the corner. Van Gool taking a very, very defensive line, but Bibby wasn't having any of it, and Van Gool is around.
Yeah, and that is one of those things you have to be incredibly careful about. Lewis Bibby then has his teammate of Stephen Baxter who's trying to pull along. That is in what was 16th place to begin with, but now I have a feeling that is going to be a little bit less right now. Side-by-side action between the two Celtic cars right now, and Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite around the outside, and Welsh Dynamite takes the position then as he goes up another one into 4th place right now. You can see Janowski trying to close then on Paul Smith, who is closing in on Stuart McFadden then, the youngster who is running in what is also grassroots at the moment. Here as he looks to go down in onto the brakes, tries Paul Smith, no, not close enough. Here right now is McFadden also looking for a Janetta Junior seat next season, potentially. Likes of Will Tragutha on the iRacing service has himself in those circles. Lando Norris as well has come through something like that, so maybe there's things bigger and brighter on the horizon for young McFadden here, Connery.
Yes, of course, and he is just showing his pace right now, just leading the field around this Interlagos circuit, but he is coming under pressure from Paul Smith right there. And this is a brilliant thing about iRacing. You can race against some of the best, and some of these developing drivers, they are also using iRacing as a tool to try and better their on-the-track activities. But as we see some battling now, Alex Everett, Adam Hadfield very, very deep on the brakes, coming into the right-hander, coming down into the long left-hander down the hill right now. He will sit behind him just for now.
Yes, and well, you have to say, if he's going to try and brake any later than that, he's probably going to need Thor's hammer to try and go down on the brake, 3rd heaviest thing in the world. But right now, Hadfield just going to sit behind his teammate and just wait for the opportunity. Same can be said for Walsh right now. Melrose waiting, and there is Glatzel. There also, all your big championship rivals are all in the same sort of real estate right now. Paul Smith, though, he's close to McFadden this time by. Can he send one down the inside? No. McFadden brakes incredibly late down in, but he has to check up a little bit there through the corner. He missed the apex by about a good foot there, and now he's got to be incredibly careful as he comes out of the Curva de Sol. Smith is waiting, but they can't afford to wait too long because Janowski is one of the quickest men on track.
Indeed, he is the Your Championship leader in that 3rd place right now. Will Paul Smith have a look down the inside of turn 4? He will not. But Stuart McFadden under pressure. He's doing relatively well with it so far. He's currently still in the lead, but Paul Smith, he is hunting. And he try to move down the inside of Ferradura. He looks towards it. He tries it. Not this time as we see car off ahead. That is Lyndon Swaby just getting out of the way right there. He doesn't want to get involved in this one. Janowski is closing in on these top 2 cars, though. So are Alex Everett, Adam Hadfield, Adam Walsh, Diogo Merrill as well. So these field are closing up.
And they certainly are closing up as things stand right now. Paul Smith, though, he is right all over the bumper, and McFadden is now starting to slow this field down. Janowski's coming into his element and could start to make positions, and well, we saw it earlier on. McFadden's not had his night. He's had 2 big incidents which have caused him to have 2 places outside of the top 15. This has been hugely detrimental to his chances at what is the Cesare Rizzo Cup. He was 5th in the championship, 3rd as they came in on the Cesare Rizzo Cup, and now he's got to be incredibly careful. McFadden, though, leads the way as things stand at the end of lap 4, start of lap 5. Paul Smith in 2nd, Janowski 3rd, and then you got Welsh Dynamite, and then you got Adam Hadfield, and then you got the 2 Thistledew teammates who are going to be trying to score some very
contact
stop starts, but there is contact at the front of the field, and that was Paul Smith there getting involved with that one, Connery. This is starting to heat up.
It is indeed, and now Paul Smith will be under threat from Julian Janowski and Alex Everett. Alex Everett actually tries on the inside coming out of Curva del Sol. He will have to give up that position. Will he sling one down the inside of turn 4 wheel coming up to the braking zone right now? He looks to do it. Here comes Alex Everett through turn 4. Almost gets a very defensive line from Julian Janowski as they back up through the corner. Alex Everett had to check up. That meant Adam Hadfield also had to check up. Hadfield, he's going to be looking for a place on his teammate as well. But look at this. This is a fight for all of your podium positions. You'll win as well.
Yeah, top 6 split by just a second. Top 7 split by about 1.5 of your top 8 split by about 2 then. And it's going to be this long train behind Create Scotland. And how synonymous is that? You can see the blue car holding everybody else up at the front of the field. McFadden doing a sterling job and one of the hardest defenders and one of the widest cards in the grid then, you can say, to try and get past. And it's Paul Smith there in second position, who is still looking. Contact at turn number 1. He was very fortunate to keep his position with Janowski and Everett there behind, but down on the brakes they come into Junshao. They're all going to stay line astern, but it's going to be this effect there. As you can see, the slipstream is going to cancel everyone out except McFadden now, who's going to be under immense amounts of pressure then as they head themselves up the hill, Connery, down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, Paul Smith and Julian Janowski, they will want to stick behind their respective rear wings. McFadden will come under pressure coming down to turn 1. He takes the defensive inside line. Paul Smith will have to be forced around the outside at the start of the center S's. Here comes Julian Janowski. He senses an opportunity as well. Oh, as they go too wide through the center S's. They're back in line now for the exit of it. Though coming through Curva del Sol, Julian Janowski looking for a gap. Does not find one just yet. He'll have the run coming out of the corner, but gives Paul Smith a little bit of a tap. Paul Smith goes defensive. Forces Julian Janowski on the outside for turn 4.
Yeah, you can see there that one turn of action. Everett then down to the inside. He tries to steal one on Janowski. Side by side, they're going to go through to the ski to Interlagos and up to Ferradura. They're going to come along right now. And you can see Janowski has that inside line, but he might be pinched there down to the curb. That's going to allow Adam Hadfield even to try and get himself a way through. But you can see in this group at the front, we haven't really looked anywhere else because this is where all the action has been right now. Down on the brakes then at over half distance, Hadfield trying to go down the inside of his teammate. And you know what? He's going to try it. And you can see just how everyone gets pinched up there as they try to get down the inside. You can see Janowski again under threat then from Everett as they now head to the Bico de Paso. Cut the nose then on Adam Hadfield. Side by side though for the race lead. Smith looking down to the inside, but he can't get a move sorted just yet. But you can see it's the inside then the inside for McFadden. And in my opinion, I think he's doing a very sterling job right now. Janowski waiting in the wings, but you can see still side by side. And now up the hill they're going to come along. Paul Smith has the lead.
Yes, those engines pulling up the hill, but Stuart McFadden has the run here. He will have the inside for the final corner. That'll get him, benefit him just a little bit. But remember, Julian Janowski, he has the draft of one of these two cars as they're going to come side by side across the finish line here. We're suspecting we're going to have a little bit of 3 wide behind as well. 3 wide for the race lead. Julian Janowski, McFadden, Paul Smith, they're all going to go 3 wide down into turn 1. Little bit of contact with Julian Janowski right there with Paul Smith's rear bumpers. They go 2 wide down the center S's, down into Curva del Sol. McFadden still in the lead.
Top 9 split by 1 second. This is absolutely sensational stuff as they head to the Desquita de Lago. 5 minutes to go then in this race. You can see at the moment McFadden still holds the lead. It's Hadfield in second and Janowski now in third. Looking at Paul Smith in fourth. Behind that though, side by side we're going to go. Paul Smith and Diogo Melro looking to go at it. The Portuguese man, formerly of the Discovery team, now going side by side. You can see on the brakes, Janowski having to check up. That's going to allow Paul Smith down the inside, but he gets a huge wiggle. And now you can see everyone trying to be opportunistic, and nobody can take that advantage. And down the inside now tries Hadfield for the race lead, but still you can see the inside there for the driver of what is Stuart McFadden, and he forces the man incredibly wide contact in the middle of your field though. And you can see that was, I believe, Rusty Walsh there getting a little bit involved, but still Hadfield then looking at the inside, and now he takes the position for the race lead.
Yeah, but here comes Stuart McFadden back on the outside. Will he try to hang it around the outside for this long left-hander? No, he will not. He will sit behind and just get a little bit of the draft from Adam Hadfield, but very, very good move from Adam Hadfield to get to the front of the field. Still 2 by 2, fighting behind though. Diogo Merrill on Stefan Glatzel. They are going to go 2 wide through the final corner.
Yeah, and Sven Glatzel right now looking for the opportunity to go around the outside. McFadden though at the front of your field. He's going to have to do it the long way round then on the Sheffield man of Adam Hadfield, and there is Julian Janowski as well. He could thread the needle, he could go 3 wide, he will thread the needle, he will try 3 wide, he has to check out of it. It's going to be McFadden then who takes the lead, but he runs too deep though, down to turn number 1. That's going to allow Hadfield the inside for turn number 3 then. He's going to have to try and hold it around the outside, and if he's not careful, Janowski's going to be there. He's going to try and pinch the man, almost 2 wheels on the grass there as they came through the curve of the Sol, and now to the skin of the Lago, trying to get himself out of that slipstream there as he gets boxed in. You can see just how close they're going to go. They're all checking up. Around the outside tries McFadden down into the corner, and I think he might just have it, and if he does, it's one of the great overtakes, and he's still trying it. Ferradura coming up, Connery. This is magic.
This is absolutely fantastic. Here comes Steering McFadden down the inside and Ferradura. Adam Hadfield will have to hang around the outside, but here comes Julian Janowski as well. Will he try and make it 3 wide down into this tight right-hand corner? No, he goes down the outside, tries to follow Hadfield around the outside and Steering McFadden. McFadden will get run off the corner, very, very, very close to being collected by Adam Hadfield's front bumper right there. Behind them though, Paul Smith and Adam Walsh. Paul Smith on the inside for the right-hander right here. Oh, as they go very, very close, door to door through that corner there, but Paul Smith will have the position.
And you can see Sven Glatzel there with Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite down on the inside there, and you can see Everett still looking to try and get that position. This one is looking more and more desperate. Rusty Layla's waiting on the back of this pack, and if anyone gets involved in an incident, you know that there are going to be people who are looking to try and take advantage of this, and it's McFadden right now who holds the lead of this race. Hadfield there in second, Janowski in third, and it's Paul Smith fourth, then it's Adam Walsh, then Diogo Mauro, then Glatzel, then Everett, then Layla. Your top 9 then, they're close. Side by side for the battle for iRacing. Hadfield to the outside then as he tries to go around the outside of the centre S. Inside for the second part then. 2 laps to go as things stand right now, and it's still the inside for Stuart McFadden, who's defended incredibly well. Keep it up front for as long as he has right now, and now Janowski might have a look to the inside. You can see they're all switching the beams right now as they head down to the Desquita Lago, and still not quite close enough. Side by side they go. Janowski still can't do it. Side by side they'll go to Ferradura.
Janowski absolutely desperate to find the gap as they go single file, but that won't last for long. Here comes Julian Janowski. He looks for the gap on the grass. Adam Hadfield defends it, and Julian Janowski, he has to drop back. He's now 3 wide with 2 Fisseldu cars coming through the right-hander of Ferradura, and he's still 3 wide with the Team Deutschland car on his inside. As we look back towards the race lead, here comes Adam Hadfield, and still McFadden has contact.
Yeah, and they go all the way around. They try and thread the needle. Glatzel gets involved. But after all of that, it's Rusty Walsh who takes the lead, and Mello in second. And now, McFadden now down the inside of what is the driver of Julian Janowski. And it's all kicking off with a lap to go. It's This'll do 1-2, and it's heaven for them at the moment. And they've got a bit of a gap then. Janowski still trying to get through. Everett down the inside of Janowski. Bit of contact between the 2 rivals. And Paul Smith waiting in the wings. Glatzel, the big loser and all of that. Lewis Bibby now onto the back of this group as well. You have to say it's all going to kick off with just 1 more lap to go. It seems This'll do have walked away with one. There still might be battling for the race win there, but you can see down towards turn number 1. Will there be a move from Melrose? No, there will not as they head to the centre S, but it's still not over and done with. There's contact from Janowski and McFadden, and Everett now is going to thread the needle and get onto the final spot on the podium. McFadden over the grass, a little bit of contact there with Layla, and there you can see it's going to be Paul Smith with contact with Janowski as well. So they're all starting to hit each other. Bibby coming into the fray now in this battle for the minor places inside the top 10. It's been sensational all weekend long. It's been sensational all final race as they head to the Desquita de Lago for the moment. It's going to be, I believe, Janowski losing a lot of time there, and he loses a position to likes of Lewis Bibby as well. So Janowski fading his championship lead, now starting to slip away as his 2 main rivals are 1 and 2 as they head into the right-hander. It's going to be the Pinarino next then for these 2, and maybe there might be a little bit of inter-team rivalry. If someone steals it on the line, there might be words. After the Nürburgring round 3, they made contact with each other and gave Janowski the chance. Now, roles reversed. They get the chance whilst Janowski slips down the order, and you look at Paul Smith in 4th. He can't catch Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite, who's managed to luck out of 3rd place after all of this. You look at McFadden, who was leading for so long, and 1 bit of contact with Hadfield has pretty much ended his chance there of a race win. But you look at the front of your field, you look at who's been holding on. It's Melrose versus Walsh. As they're going to drive it to the line, will there be team orders? Will there be a drag race? Well, that's going to be the big question, though. And at the moment, it's Rusty Walsh. And at the moment, it will stay Rusty Walsh. And it will be Rusty Walsh who wins one out at the end. And Julian Janowski, so crucially, is disqualified at the end of this race. Oh, my word. Can you spell controversy? Because it's just happened there, Connery.
I have absolutely no words to describe the last 3 races. I'm lost for words completely. It's wow.
Just wow indeed. Julian Janowski disqualified with just a handful of meters to go. Let's get a replay then and see exactly how that one has happened. And Connery, oh my word, it's happened at Junshao. It's happened with Kip Stevens of all people. And it's that one little bit of contact that has said end of game. And when you hit that 15 incident limit, it doesn't matter what sort of contact it is. That's the end of it. You have been hit. You have been disqualified. You are scoring nothing.
Yes, indeed, and Julian Janowski just gained a few too many of those, and that final contact from Kip Stevens right there. I believe there will be fireworks after this race.
Well, what we can do for you right now is get those classified results out on screen. Rusty Walsh takes the win by just 69 hundredths of a second then. 69 thousandths even ahead of Diogo Melro. Alex Everett, Welsh Dynamite, will take the final spot on the podium. Paul Smith will come home in 4th position with young Stuart McFadden in 5th. Rusty Laidler there will come home in 6th, with Lewis Bibby coming from 24th up into 7th. Kip Stevens will be a little bit worried right now in 8th after taking Janowski out in the final corner, with Richard Gore there in 9th and running out the top 10, Adam Hadfield. You look further down, the likes of Jamie Hall and Adam McNally having good races. Sven Glatzel, he dropped down like a stone after his contact there in the middle of the Pinarino. And you look at the likes of Robert Plumley getting himself quite a race. Thorsten Matten from the front of the field down to 17th. And you look at the likes of McLeod Evans not having the best of days. Janowski getting disqualified and cars finishing a lap down or more. Pete Newman, the likes of Peter Van Gool and Jason Greenfield as well, all having their own troubles. Well, we'll try and get for you one final driver interview right now. We're going to try and bring in for you one of Apex Racing's very own right now. We're going to try and bring in for you Paul Smith. Now, Paul, what a trio of races we've just seen for you. That final race, there was some cases where we had 9 cars split by a second, the top 8 split by half a second. You have to say, it was pretty much like a battlefield out there.
I tell you what, first of all, apologies to Stuart McFadden for the couple little bumps there. I didn't mean to, and that's why I held back to let him keep the lead, unlike some people who'll just do the bump and run. But, so sorry to Stuart about that. Man, that was some of the most fun racing I've ever had in the Kia. It was absolutely manic, the close action that was in there. It was brilliant. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Oh, most certainly. And, well, you find yourself in that position with just a few laps to go. Everyone's just looking around themselves thinking, you know what, is this my time? You see a move pretty much every second corner trying to go in. And for you were in 2nd place for the majority of that race. And then you get shuffled down with all the main contenders coming in. As a privateer, do you feel the sense of, having to push a little bit less maybe just to deal with not trying to take people's championships out of the equation? Or was it a case of, I'm not here often, I have to fight for my place and prove my worth?
I'm a privateer. I don't care about other people's championships. I'm here to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to do the best job that I can. And, so if other people, get the championships affected, I apologise. But we're all here to race, and there was some give and take. I gave and I took some as well. So, no, it was all great. I didn't finish anybody's races as far as I'm aware. So yeah, it's all fair.
It's certainly all fair. And, well, where are we going to see Paul Smith next? Are we going to see him at the Land of the Rising Sun at Suzuka next week? Or are we thinking maybe later on down the line towards the end of the championship we might see Paul Smith again? I know you're very concerned about the Pro Series and exactly how it goes on there. But the World Series, is it something that you're looking to visit very soon after the racing you've seen this week?
Well, I did Okayama. And then I had a week off. I've got a broadcast next week for somebody else, so I won't be here next week. I'll see how I am the week after, though. I would love to race in this series more because there's some really good drivers out there. There's some, that it's a learning ground for a lot of people as this series, and when you have people like Julian and Rusty, Pete Newman, Diogo, who have come in from the Pro Series. I'm sure I'm missing a few others, but when you've got people like that coming in, that's going to help those people who are new to the car, new to the series, because it just aids their development. Because end of the day, you don't improve without pitting yourself against better competitors, and you don't know where that yardstick is, because you might dominate a series because you've been that much more of a dominant driver. Go into a series like the Pro Series and you're mid-table, and it's just having that class of driver coming into here helps them out to say, right, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z, or actually I can go, do you know what? I've got the pace. I'll go for the Pro Series, and no, I think it's good learning ground. This and the Club Series is a really good learning ground for the car with the fixed setup. So you learn how to drive around issues as well in this one.
Yeah, you certainly do. Paul Smith, thank you for joining us. 4th place today in the 333 machine. But that is all we're going to have time for this evening. A big thank you to all the drivers, everyone watching this absolute classic at home. That has been Connery Maddick. That has been Samuli behind the cameras. I have been Jake Sparey. And that is a masterclass of how the Kia races. 3 brilliant lots of high-octane action for you on a plate. And it will only continue at the Land of the Rising Sun. Adam Walsh and Diogo Melro, they take the initiative with a 1-2 out of the face of adversity. That was absolutely sublime. Good night.